Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV and welcome back to this next episode of our podcast series. And tonight what we've got Aleks and Martin, who's one of the presenters on the channel. So Aleks, you're a regular on Man City Fan TV. So Aleks, do you want to tell everybody where you're from and how, if you want them to get in touch with you, that they can do?
Yeah, okay, thanks Andy, thanks for having me. I'm Alexander Savic, or my nickname is Alex. I live in Belgrade, Serbia. If you want to follow me, I use Facebook. That's my favorite social media platform, and it's ASAVICC. So type it in, facebook.com/ASAVICC. So that's my account. I'm active on Facebook on a regular basis. I also follow certain groups and pages related to Man City and football banter and all the other stuff. So yeah, that's me.
Listen, welcome onto the podcast. We've also got Martin. You all right, buddy?
Not too bad. Thank you very much.
Not too bad, says Martin. We'll put some Duracell batteries in him and he'll wind up and he'll start speaking a bit quicker very shortly. Especially when we get to VAR, which is our first topic tonight. We've done the player ratings and man of the match and everything else tonight on Man City Fan TV. But right, we're going to go into VAR and VAR. Martin, I know this is something we discussed at the match last night at the Etihad. We were talking about it. You were pretty restrained with regards to your comments about it on certainly when we were filming. But after last night, that's why we do the player ratings. We like to do the player ratings 24 hours later. So we've had a chance to get home, which in some cases, like me, is late at night, and watch the game the next day and watch through the highlights and things like that, and then read what everyone else on social media reads and Gary Lineker and all of the tweets that he's posted out, even though he never really says much about it. So we're going to talk about VAR first. So Martin, give me your thoughts overall on VAR. Let's start off with yesterday, and then in general. So what were your thoughts on the VAR decision on Raheem Sterling last night, right at the end of the game?
Confusing, garbage. And quite simply, just downright, it looks, in all intents and purposes, and this is going to sound really strong, it looks like there is something going on with this VAR, in my opinion.
Well, you said confusing to start with. Well, certainly It's confusing for fans in the ground because we don't get told what it is for. That's one of the big issues for the 20 or so Premier League clubs that actually have screens in the stadium. We know potentially, if thinking, oh, that could be VAR and it could be offside. We actually don't know. So
no.
Is that a problem that we're not being told on the screen exactly what it is, offside decision or on Sterling or whatever else it is? Because it would take a second for somebody to type that up on the screen and say VAR offside decision on Raheem Sterling or on number 7 or on whatever.
Well, isn't it funny how it was on the screen for 1.5 seconds and then suddenly got tucked straight back down again? I don't know if you noticed that, but it actually came on screen.
Oh, I must admit, I didn't see that. I must admit, because you're looking at the pitch. So, I mean,
it just disappeared as quickly as it came up. The thing I'm confused at is we had this big hoo-ha last week at this meeting with Mike Riley,
which we'll talk about in a minute.
That they were going to clear all confusion up. Yesterday, now I've seen it back 3, 4, 5,000 times up to now. It wasn't shown on the thing that worries me. It wasn't shown on Match of the Day. They didn't even talk about it.
And I posted on Twitter today the Sky Sports YouTube channel showed the highlights of this was the full highlights of the match, and yet never shown the Raheem Sterling disallowed goal. It was like, what? That's how's that full highlights?
It wasn't offside. It's simple as. Now I get the hand bit because you can't. The rule is it's only offside with a part of the body that you can score the goal with. Now you can't score a goal with your hand. So
hold on a minute. But who can score a goal with the hand?
Well, nobody.
Yeah, you can.
The goalie.
No. The defender can score a goal with his hand.
Yeah.
Because Sterling could hit the ball against a defender's hand and it goes in the net. Yeah. And there would be no issue whatsoever with that goal being disallowed. They wouldn't pull it back and go, well, it's a free kick because it hit his hand. If Sterling was to shoot and it hit the defender's hand and it went in the net, the goal would be given.
Yeah.
So, in fact, the defender's hand that was playing Sterling onside could, in effect, come into play in the next transition.
Yeah, definitely. The thing that's confusing, like yesterday, Atkinson ran, the linesman didn't do anything. Atkinson ran straight to the linesman. And the thing was, nobody even thought it was offside. Nobody understood. It wasn't like a decision that, that's going to be reviewed. Nobody thought that was going to be reviewed. The Chelsea players didn't think it was going to be reviewed. Nobody appealed it. No one did anything about it.
No, they didn't.
They were on the floor. They were gutted. Kepa, Edgate on the pitch, didn't looked absolutely distraught. He conceded another goal. We'd even wheeled away in celebration. They were about to go back for the kickoff. Then it comes out that it was being under review again. So you took about a minute, 2 minutes there. And again, the thing that worries me, imagine that was 1-1.
Well, that's what I said on Twitter this morning. I said that on the blog earlier. I said, and on Twitter I said it's all very well. We came out of the stadium a bit sort of like, yeah, well, we've got the 3 points, blah blah blah. But it's VAR again. Imagine coming out of the stadium at 1-1 and going another Sterling goal disallowed for VAR. But moving on to Alex, what are your thoughts on certainly that yesterday and VAR in general?
So I didn't actually watch the situation because I watched 70 minutes of the game. But I saw the picture, and it was really a debatable situation. Also, today I went to a Chelsea fan channel on YouTube, and the guy was obviously recording the away stand. And when Sterling scored the goal, they didn't expect to be reviewed, so nobody saw that coming. And yeah, it's just another typical VAR decision. It's so inconsistent. I'm not really against the idea of VAR, but I think the guys who are doing the job are not professionals. So yeah, that's my take on VAR. Not much to say, actually.
Well, I mean, obviously this week we've had it says this is. From the BBC, I mean, there's hundreds of articles on this, but I just chose the BBC website to look at what was said about the meeting, which was with Mike Riley, the Premier League referees chief, and he met with 20 of top flight clubs about VAR, and he talked. But they were asking questions basically of overruled perfectly good decisions by the on-field officials, and his comments were, in quotes, "We are far from perfect, and we have to improve the way we're doing things." But yet, Riley's assistant Neil Swarbrick, when he was interviewed, said, "Oh, I'd give the system 7 out of 10." But Mike Riley said part of the balance of understanding clear and obvious, and that's the terminology used to determine when an on-field error should be overturned, is that there will be times when we don't intervene and everyone thinks we should. But that is a better place to be than intervening and everyone saying you shouldn't have done that. There are significant things we can do to improve, including better consistency in decision-making as VARs, and the timings, so we get minimum interference. But surely, and they quoted the game Brighton versus Everton, where there was a massive mistake, the Norwich versus United, where there was a massive mistake, Arsenal against Crystal Palace in October, another major mistake, Watford against Chelsea, another massive mistake. But surely, would you not think that if you're gonna make these decisions, I mean, this is in 2 weeks prior. 2 weeks prior to the international break, they were looking at these 4 major decisions. In 2 weeks, there's been 4 absolute cock-ups, basically, with VAR. Yet VAR are there getting all the angles, yet they're still cocking it up. Do you not think, Martin, that the decision should be given to the referee and they are forced to go to the monitor, even if it takes 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and make the right decision, or ultimately we might disagree and say the wrong decision, but it is the on-field referee's decision. That way we know, well, it's Michael Oliver, it's Martin Atkinson. It's not who's made that decision, because we don't know right now.
Well, I want to know who ruled that goal out today. Because I've heard Atkinson was the one who was questioning it, and Atkinson was the one who told VAR, in his opinion, it was offside. Now, apparently...
So what you're basically saying, if that's true, is that a referee, Martin Atkinson, is actually saying it's offside when his linesman doesn't give it.
Yeah. Apparently, that's what happened yesterday.
He's got some amazing eyesight. If his linesman who's in line with it doesn't give it, but he's behind the play and he can see it, what's the assistant doing then? What's the point?
Here's a question: do you remember the Edison goal kick from yesterday when he kicked Aguero through?
Yeah.
The linesman was what, 5 yards away?
Yeah. Where
was Atkinson? The other end of the pitch.
Yeah.
The linesman didn't put his flag up,
yeah.
But Atkinson from the other end of the pitch saw a rolling ball.
Yes. So, that was another point. Wait, so does that suggest that VAR has now introduced a level of jeopardy whereby officials, be it the referee and the assistants, are actually afraid of being called out making a wrong decision because of VAR? So what they're doing is they're actually putting the ball in the court of VAR, which surely now makes it slower. I don't know, Alex, what's your thoughts?
Not much to say. I mean, yeah, it's pretty complicated. I want to find the rules and see if they are actually following the rules, because it's being interpreted in many ways. So yeah,
I mean,
not much to say there.
The problem being with VAR is that we are currently in the Premier League not following IFAB rules. We're not following the rules that IFAB set. We've introduced all these additional. I think since the start of the season, have we not changed the rules five times? And that's been since the start of the season. We've made 5 new introductions to it. Now, surely if you're having to make introductions and changes during the season to rules, Martin, does that not suggest there's something wrong?
Yeah, they know they've made a cock up here. They know they have. But do you think they're going to back down on it? Riley's not going to back down on it. And I've always said the reason it's flawed is the same reason why none of our referees, officials are going to World Cups, are going to, European Cups, all this sort of thing. They're not being used because we're not using the VAR the same way as it's used across the rest of Europe. Because across the rest of Europe, they're using the monitors.
But it's not just that. I mean, I've spoken about this at length, saying Pierluigi Collina, the head of referees in the world, he turned around and said that you cannot have, Premier League referees refereeing in European competitions and World Cups if they're not applying the same rules as IFAB, because then you've got inconsistency. You've got referees refereeing in a competition that they don't implement, because I think the first one he mentioned was the fact that you have to have both feet on the goal line. Well, the Premier League decided to say, well, one, but we're not really if it's slightly off the line, we won't really take that into. Well, that's different. It's a different rule to what's happening in Europe. So, he said basically, well, that's one prime example whereby how can your Premier League referees referee something that they're not refereeing week in, week out in a European competition? Until they do, I think basically they've taken VAR, and I think VAR has come in for the right reasons, let's say. And there's all sorts of conspiracy theories. I'm sure we'll all say it's about making sure Liverpool win the league. And I've said it before.
Oh, yeah.
I've said it before about the fact that you've got the head of the Premier League, Scudamore, turning around saying on record that he wants a different winner of the Premier League every 6 seasons. Well, I mean, that suggests then that you're going to do everything you can to possibly make sure that happens. So VAR, I think, is here to stay. I think there's massive problems with it. With regards to today on social media, there's a good... I'm waiting to see it tomorrow, but I think Ian Cheeseman, Forever Blue podcast, is going to be talking about it tonight on his podcast about, as a fan, would you ever walk away from football because of it? And reading, and I commented on his question and things like that. There were lots and lots of fans that were really in two minds saying, if this continues the way it's going, I'm really not sure whether I can be bothered paying money to watch a game that I know the outcome could be changed by interpretation for one way or the other, which I think is a real shame, because one, we already know we can't really celebrate a goal like we used to because we don't know. We know it's going to possibly go to VAR, and so everyone hangs around. And I just think VAR, for me personally, and this is my thoughts on VAR, is that it's become more for people who watch it on television than it is for the fans that actually go to the game.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, 0800 numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I said I was joking, saying you'll have a red buzzer under your seat and it'll come up, VAR, press your buzzer. Was it on? Was it off? And everybody votes, and the Premier League makes another £10 million every weekend in the season for it. I mean, that's the way it feels for me. I mean, that actual, as much as we moaned about referees, at least we knew who to blame. And say, well, you made the decision. At the moment, we don't know who is making the decisions and why, because they are, one, not mic'd up, two, we're not seeing it, and three, nobody from the PGMOL is coming out and saying this is the reason why. It's simple, but Mike Riley and it just doesn't want the fans to know that, which is making it very frustrating. And is at this moment in time my suggestion, and I'll choose my words very carefully. It is open to what's the word I should use? It's open to corruption, and I'll leave that there on VAR.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, of course.
Before you go, and it was simpler. Or before we change subject, not go. I was speaking to someone today who has told me a couple of things, and they've been spot on so far. There's a rumour going round. Now, this is where worries me with VAR. Atkinson and a certain other referee, because you've got to remember, some of these referees are in the VAR decision box anyway, that there's been decisions made in games from other referees that other referees have not, agreed with, shall we say. And then you got to remember, these referees are going back into the VAR box again to referee these other refs, shall we say?
Yeah.
Is that open to? Well, you made me look a bit silly there. Wait till I'm doing your game.
Well, I mean, you would like to think that they're professionals.
Well,
getting paid a salary, getting a good salary, and having a good job. Good job because they do a lot of things outside of football as well.
I think next season it'll be great, VAR. Next season it'll be great. This year, I think there's things set up around it.
I agree with you 100%.
Well, I think for now, and I've mentioned it on numerous times on podcasts and vlogs and things like that. It's something I am looking at because I personally think there's a far bigger story surrounding VAR.
Did anyone hear Paul Merson?
Sorry?
Did you hear Paul Merson on Soccer Saturday?
No, mate.
Oh, we were at the game, actually, so no, we wouldn't have done. Because I watched it back, because I recorded it. Paul Merson made a very off-the-cuff comment to Phil Thompson yesterday. When he saw the Lovren goal, or incident, do you know what he said to him? Came out and basically said, VAR's helping you. In his exact words to Phil Thompson were, in an off-the-cuff comment, you might as well wrap up and give them the title now.
Well, I mean, it's not the first. Gary Lineker's come out on social media today, certainly, and last night, complaining about it, calling it VA farce and all sorts of names and things like that. You see, people are not happy about it. They're really not. And it was interesting because this morning I was watching. I watched the Sunday supplement. They were talking about there. Martin Samuel was on, and then I was watching Goals on Sunday. I watched the first part of it where they were show. I just wanted to see the City and the Liverpool stuff, and they had Chris Woods and somebody else from Burnley on, and both of them said, I only found out 2 weeks ago about a certain part of the law, the rules. And they said, we were confused as to what's going on. And one of them made a good comment and said, listen, he was one of the ones who made the comment about, well, you can, if you're a defender and somebody takes a shot and it comes off your hands and goes in, the referee's going to give it as a goal. So why is your hand suddenly omitted from the VAR line? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And they both were very thinking VAR is a bit of a shit show, basically, and very.
May I just add one thing?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think giving up on football because of VR is kind of overreacting. I mean, this is another thing that we cannot fix. I think it's fixable, and I would wait for the end of the season to judge and to rate the overall VAR experience. So
I'll play devil's advocate with that statement, Alex, and I don't mean to be disrespectful with this, but if you're paying, like yesterday's game, you're paying sort of £66 to go to a game, plus your parking, plus your drinks, food, whatever. Suddenly you're paying £100 and odd to go to a game, and that could be just you. Never mind if you're taking a family and kids and whatever, and you walk away from it going, "What's that all about?" Then people who people spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pounds following their own football. I'm not just talking about Man City. I'm talking about all fans pay thousands to follow their team. Sometimes just home matches, sometimes home and away, sometimes home, away, and Europe. And you get those decisions when you're investing not only emotionally in a game, being there at the stadium, but you are investing masses of it financially into that as well. Yeah, I totally get why people, and there was a comment on Twitter today by somebody, I can't remember. I think it wasn't City Till I Die, it was somebody else, but they said, I don't bother. I go and watch Droylsden. I watch a local team. I can have a pint, I can have a pie, I can sit down, I have a banter with all the fans. My local team, I can sit down and actually have a pint in the stadium. I don't get any of the nonsense. There's no VAR. And I'll just go home and watch City on the TV, and it saves me an absolute fortune because I know I'm going to come out the stadium if I was there, frustrated with this, that, and the other. So I understand what you're saying about giving it time, and I agree. I mean, we possibly have to give it until the end of the season and see what next season brings. But for me,
it's November. I mean, it's only 3 months into the season, so.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen it. It's been in play in cup competitions. We've seen it in European competitions and World Cup. Play. It's been here for 2 years now, in various formats. And for me personally, it's and this, I'll be absolutely honest with you. It sucked the life out of the game for me. And I've never ever, and I've been following City since 1977, which was my first game, and I have never ever had a season in my life where I've actually gone, I walk out the stadium, seen amazing football, and this is nothing to do with City and the form and how we're playing or anything like that, but I just walk out of it thinking something has been massively taken away from my enjoyment of the game, and for me, it's VAR. And I'm sure I'm not. I'm sure I'm in the majority, not the minority of City fans. I can't talk for other fans in other stadiums and other clubs they support, but as it stands right now, VAR is sucking the life out of the game that I absolutely have loved all my life, and I'm nearly 50.
Yeah, that's I guess a different perspective, because obviously I'm a TV supporter right now, so celebrating in front of the screen is no big difference. I mean, you can wait for the decision or whatever. I'm not currently so frustrated with it, but I do think it needs to change as soon as possible.
But I agree. I mean, and listen, I'm not decrying people who don't go to games and things like that. Not at all. It's absolutely nothing to do with people who like you, live overseas and can't go to games. I mean, Kiam, one of our presenters, lives in Canada, so he obviously can't go to games and things until he comes back at Christmas. So it's nothing to do with the spectator, demographic and where they live geographically in the world. It's not to do with that. I'm just saying, as somebody who's at the games this season, there is something that has really taken away the enjoyment and the passion. Not passion, that's a wrong word, but just the jeopardy of a game, and in respect of just the emotional investment. I walked away last night. I was like, oh, another VAR, and it's like nearly every game you're talking about bloody VAR. Why can't we just talk about, we'd still argue in a pub afterwards, going, well, that looked onside to me, and others would go, well, I'm not too sure. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But at the end of the day, we knew nothing was going to change. It's been done with. We move on. What we've got now is decisions being made with lines, computer graphics, things like that. And we still do not know ultimately why. And that's the question. Why has that decision been made? Why? Because if we know, we can go, well, I disagree with that. Or we can go, well, that is exactly what the rules state. So we still don't understand why, when a referee gets involved with the VARs at Stockley Park, or VAR overruled the referee, or that's the problem. There's so much ambiguity in that we don't understand what has happened, and we still don't get to 24 hours later understand who actually made that decision and what was the communication, because there's nothing.
You know what confuses me the most about VR decisions? It's the natural position. I still don't know what that means. When they talk about handballs and other stuff, what is actually a natural position? How do you define a natural position?
Well, you've actually hit on a very, very good point, because if you've ever played football, and I play football to a pretty decent standard, there is no natural position. There just isn't simply a natural. There isn't a natural position, because you use your arms to balance. nobody goes in to jump for something or move quickly, swiftly, and make a turn, and without using your arms, because you use your arms for balance. And this is where, we've had decisions go against us. We've had decisions go for Liverpool, for example, and then other teams and things. I find what annoys me about it is the fact of, a defender could potentially handle it and it's fine. But a striker handles it potentially, and it's a definite VAR decision that it's ruled out, regardless of the outcome. And you're thinking, well, so what you're basically doing under the guise of those terms and rules is saying, let's go back to giving everything for the defence, where we've got the most attacking, entertaining Premier League in world football. And that's been removed because it's more for the defenders than it is for the attackers. And like somebody said I think it was Chris Woods from Burnley on the Goals on Sunday, and he said, they have nobody in the studio that is a professional footballer that understands that when you make a turn, there is a body shape that you make. And that doesn't give you an advantage. That's just you versus a defender. You're only turning, and your body shape is giving you the projectile to move forward. But we've got now armpits coming into play and things like that. And it is just sucking the life out of the game for me. Martin?
Of course it is. It's absolutely destroying it. But I don't know what else we can do, because the only thing is, we seem to be having the same debate, same argument every week.
And I was thinking about this afternoon. I was thinking, how many times prior to VAR were we as City fans, or I can only talk for us because I can't talk for every club, but how many times would we debate for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours after the game about a potential offside that went against us? Did we really do it? We might have discussed it after the game, going, well, no matter what saw match of the day, he looked onside to me. And then that was pretty much done, because it was like, well, it was a potential refereeing error. And that was it. It was done and dusted. Now, it's going on for days and days and days, and it's every game. Every game. I've never ever like I said, I'm nearly 50. In 43 years of going to live football matches, I've never, ever read so much stuff about decisions. It's just absolutely overtaking everything else, because you read the articles, and the articles that you read are just constantly, like we're doing now, it's all overtaken by VAR, rather than talking about the game and the players and how they played and blah blah blah. And there might be a little paragraph that states, oh yeah, and the referee possibly got that wrong. I think it was onside, but he gave it offside. Well, he gave it offside. That's it. Decision. The old decisions go against you. They go for you. They even themselves out at the end of the season. At the moment, it's just everything is about VAR, and for me, that is not football.
No, I don't think I'm ever to say I'll stop going. No, I'll never stop going. Do I enjoy it as much? No. My only worry is, sorry, Andy. My only worry is yesterday, for the first time this year, the atmosphere was getting a little bit toxic. Not towards each other. You could hear murmurings. You could hear comments. And that's what worries me. One game that is going to be a 1-1 or a 2-2 or a 1-0, something. And I'm worried what's going to happen when it does happen, because these fans, or us fans, they're only going to sit there for so long before they're going to go mad over it. They really are.
You reckon it could kick off big style?
I think it's boiling that way, because the comments yesterday were, I sit behind 4 lads who are brilliant, sat with them for years, And they're quite two of them are elderly, a couple are middle-aged, not a youngster like myself, but they simply, even they were saying it's corrupt, you know, it's clear, and they would never say that. Yeah. Now even they're saying it.
I know, but is that not, you know, is that not like said? It's, for me, it's like, it's this season in particular, and this is nothing to do with the fact that where we are in the table, how we've been playing, you know, 3 losses and a draw, and it's nothing to do with that. It just seems this season, the embodiment of what football is all about is being sucked out of the game for the fans that are in the stadium. Now, I'm sure people at home on TV, watching it on TV on the sofa, can see Sky or BT or whoever drawing lines, and they can see all this. So they can actually see it live as the incident is happening, going, oh, that's a bit... Because all we ever do at the moment is we get messages in the stadium. And I had messages yesterday from my lads and my wife, who... My lad was in Liverpool at uni, going, oh, Jesus, that is harsh. You know, from home, they're watching it on TV going, oh, you know, what? And I have no idea. And I'm a paying fan. There's nothing. So I'm sat there going, why do I not know about this? Why? What is it? Because it just is so frustrating that I'm having to even concentrate any of my energy into answering messages, trying to find out what's going on, blah, 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 when I should just want to, like I have done for 43 years, sit down, watch the game, and if it's an offside, and I'll watch it back on Match of the Day, and it's like, oh, Michael Oliver, you made a bit of a cock up there, mate. You know, that was onside. Anyway, we move on. Another blah, blah, blah. At the moment, it's just, you're looking at it going, how is that offside? And that is with technology. How is that possibly offside? What are the, you know, how have you come to that conclusion? How do you know that was the direct millisecond that it left his boot? How do you, I don't want to talk about that. I want to watch and analyse the game back going, oh, I might have missed that little point there. Oh, I saw him do that. Oh, what was he doing? And no, all I'm looking for is the actual VAR bullshit that we have to take as a, you know, a fan. Oh, I'm just fed up of it. I am. So, Martin, we know it's not going anywhere.
No,
it's staying. It is. It's fact.
Not until I started names on a trophy.
Right. Well, I tell you what. Yeah, that's. I mean, I couldn't disagree with that statement. But I'm going to say to you one thing, and this is a question. This is for Martin. And I'll come to you, Alex, even though you're a newer football fan and newer City fan. Martin, do you think this VAR will eventually push football fans? I'm not talking about Man City fans. I'm talking about football fans in general to go and watch local teams and then...
Are you talking diehard or casuals?
No, I'm talking football fans in general who go to matches. And I know not everyone can go to every match and blah, 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 blah. But I'm just saying, people who actually go and pay to follow their teams and go to games, things like that. Do you think it'll eventually, VAR might get them to the point where they're that frustrated of it, they think, you know what is the point? I'll go and follow a local team. And I'll watch it on Sky, or I'll watch it on BT, or I'll watch it online, or I'll do it, whatever.
I think some clubs, yes. Ours, no.
Really? Really?
Yeah, for the simple fact is, you got to remember, you know, we were going to York, Lincoln, Port Vale.
I'm not talking about the football, because the football I'm trying to separate the two here. So I don't want any ambiguity in regards to what I'm actually asking. I'm not talking about the football. The football we have seen since, let's face it, since Sheikh Mansour took over 11 years ago, the football has been absolutely incredible. I'm just talking about, will fans just get that fed up of this whole bullshit VAR thing that they go, you know what? It's just like I felt yesterday And yesterday, even though we won, I actually walked out the stadium thinking, oh, I'm just fed up of VAR. And I'm thinking I should be coming out of here going, that was a brilliant, hard-fought win. Really good performance after the Liverpool defeat. I'm just fed up of VAR. Is it going to turn fans away to go, you know what, I'm not paying all this money. I'm going to watch it on the TV and I'll go and support my local team. I'm talking about those, not diehards who that'll never ever leave City. I've said I won't stop following City, but I can understand why people will.
Yeah, no. Now you've said that, then yeah, I could. I really could, because, like you said, people are coming out not enjoying it. We should be coming out going, because Chelsea are a damn good team. And
Very good.
Damn good team.
Very good.
And we were more upset about the VAR than we were, because even at the full-time whistle, there was no euphoria. There was no getting, like when we used to every time we beat United, there's this euphoria of absolute, and you get that nail biting, don't you, for the last 3 or 4 minutes, and we could be 3 up. But yesterday, there wasn't any of that. It was all anger. It was all anger and frustration towards the officials, and the players didn't even enjoy it. The first thing Sterling did was run to the referee. So yeah, I could see it. Could have seen the City fans going back to the days of going watching Stockport like we used to on a Friday night.
I did for a whole season. I followed Stockport County and City, but I did it, and I thoroughly. 96, 97, and I thoroughly enjoyed the year with the guys in the pub who were Stockport County fans.
I mean, I actually go.
I loved it.
Because I've got a lad who I used to coach, who's now a professional footballer. So I get to go. I've been to see FC United, and I've been to see Disley and Didsbury and all these other clubs. And I tell you what, you come out and they're laughing, they're bubbling, they're enjoying it.
So which leads me on to, before we move on very quickly to the next 2 subjects. Alex, I know this is something that we're discussing here between me and Martin, and I know it's probably a little bit different for you, but as a younger fan, you're only 22 years of age, so can you understand why the likes of me and Martin are discussing this?
Absolutely.
Or can't you? I mean, because that's perfectly fine as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't know if you guys gonna. I don't know if you would agree with me, but the point of being a football fan is to actually watch the games and go to the stadium. I mean, I would really like to go to the games, but I have certain factors that are preventing me from doing it. So I completely understand, because it's also frustrating for me as well. I'm just a bit more patient because I don't have that stadium feel right now. So that's the difference. But I would love to be in your position. So I totally understand, and I'm just a bit more patient. It's only three months into the season, so. I think this is a temporary issue, but we'll see. I'm definitely not giving up, and I also think that maybe a small portion of fans would definitely give up on football and let's say start watching some lower league sides.
Yeah,
I think most of us are enjoying the success, enjoying the hype and everything surrounding it. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, I think like I said, VAR is going nowhere. But I've got to come back on VAR again. I've got another point I want to make, because we'll quickly just talk about potential lineups for the Shakhtar and Newcastle game. But Martin, excuse me, would it be a bad thing? Would it be a bad thing if fans, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate, would it be a bad thing if fans actually went, you know what, until they sort this VAR garbage out, I'm going to go and support my local teams. Would it be a bad thing?
No. And I think something drastic like that is going to be needed to make Mike Riley. And let's be honest here, it's Mike Riley. We need to stop going, it's all these other people. Mike Riley's in charge of it.
Because let's face it, we know local teams around our areas and things like that in the Northwest, they need support, they need money, they need financing, they need people to pay and go through the gate and buy pies and a pint and whatever else, programs or whatever. Would it really be a bad thing? I'm not too sure. But anyway, it's food for thought. It really, really is food for thought. And right, moving on. Tuesday night, and this is quickly, last 5 minutes we're going to talk about. We've got 2 games coming up. Shakhtar Donetsk on Tuesday night. It's going to be an interesting game because as the table stands at the moment, City currently lead on 10 points. Shakhtar are in second, only on 5. Dinamo Zagreb are on 5, and Atalanta are on 1 point. So we discount those. Obviously, Tuesday night, City play Shakhtar Donetsk. So, Alex, Tuesday night, who do you think the starting lineup will be? So just go through who you think you would have for, because we literally need 1 point, and we're going to go through. So who do you think the lineup should be for Tuesday night?
Yeah, okay. So Ederson in goal, Cancelo, Otamendi possibly because he hasn't played much as lately. Fernandinho, Mendy probably. He needs more time. So this is his time to shine against let's say a bit weaker side in Shakhtar. Rodri, Foden, and KDB. And up front, it's going to be probably Gabriel Jesus, Riyad Mahrez, and Sterling.
Okay, that's a bloody hell. That's a strong lineup there, Alex. You've picked. I mean, that's a very strong, very very strong lineup considering Newcastle on Sunday. But wow, I would hope that lineup would definitely get us 3 points. Martin, very quickly, Shakhtar Tuesday night.
Who I would choose? Or who
Yeah. No. Give me your lineup. Who would you think should play? Not what Pep, because we can never sort of guess, second guess Pep. So
that's always a mystery.
Always a mystery.
He does like a curveball. Ederson, Walker. So obviously he didn't play Saturday. Harwood Bellis.
I like that.
Otamendi.
Who's your left back? Angelino. Okay.
Fernandinho at CDM.
Right.
Big like for that one.
Tommy Doyle. Sterling.
Well, we've only got you. So far, we've got Fernandinho and Tommy Doyle in midfield. So who's the third one?
Phil Foden.
So we've got Foden, Doyle, and Fernandinho. Okay. Yeah, 3 up front. Sterling.
Jesus. Sterling. And you know who else I'd like to see? Benabi.
Oh, Adrian Benabi. You think Benabi might get a chance? I can't see that.
Yeah, listen, that ain't going to happen.
Me neither.
That's definitely not going to be this lineup. And if it does, mate, I'll buy you every single beer that when we meet up in Christmas time. That is one ambitious.
I am bringing Pep now. No, it's like I said earlier on the vlog in the comments. We need to realise, and I think it was Section made a very good comment back, is a lot of these youngsters Pep isn't gonna see the potential of them, unfortunately. And I'm talking 2, 3, 4 years down the line now, 5 years. Now, to me, I don't want to go into. I'm going to make this very, very quick. We need to realise that some of these players are coming to the end. Get these kids in, or if not in, give them game time. I don't see why Howard Bellis and Garcia and a proper centre backs, why they're not playing. Why are we going with Fernandinho and Stones, or Fernandinho and Otamendi, who, let's be honest, is going in the summer? Why are we not doing it?
Well, I agree. Well, I mean, we've still got 2 games to go, and I think Pep will just want to make sure on Tuesday night that we get the point we need to go through. So I'll just quickly go through my team.
May I just ask Martin one question? Martin, why didn't you put Carson or Bravo in goal?
Carson will never play for City. He was bought because the homegrown quota needed to get up. And Bravo, I would love Bravo to play because I rate him. I'm probably in the minority. I rate Bravo. I'm one of these of Bravo had a bad first season for the simple fact is, and don't get me wrong, when they were on form, they were brilliant. But when you've got back Chris Anya, Alexander Kolarov, and Gail Clichy in front of you in a Pep team, there's not much you can do. Bravo's won his cups, and people need to remember that.
Yeah, well, you know my feelings on Bravo. I've always supported him. For me, the lineup will be Edison. Right back will be Kyle Walker. Centre backs will be Otamendi and Eric Garcia. Left back will be Angelino. Gundogan will be holding. And then I've got Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne ahead of him. Riyad Mahrez will keep his place on the right. Gabriel Jesus will come in, and Raheem Sterling will play 45 minutes on the left-hand side, and then he'll be replaced with a possible kid in maybe Ian Poveda, who's done very well lately. I think he scored again the other day, so don't be surprised to see 3 or 4 kids on the bench for me. But I think he'll go with a fairly strong lineup for Tuesday night and make sure that we get the points we need. And then the final game, I think, will be potentially a load of kids, as long as we can guarantee we're top of the group. So my last
and
point,
I'm actually going to the final game. Yesterday I bought the ticket, so that's going to be my first City game.
Oh well, listen, Alex, you're going to be doing us some live vlogs and stuff like that for the game.
Absolutely, mate.
That's absolutely brilliant, and I hope you have a fantastic time in the final game. But anyway, I'm just going to finally finish. Well, obviously, Sunday we've got Newcastle. Martin, you'll be up there. I'll be doing a live watch along again. Sorry?
Saturday.
Sorry, Saturday. What did I say? Sunday?
Yeah.
My apologies. I'll be doing a live watch along, and then I'll be out. But so Saturday's game, Newcastle. Give me a scoreline then. Alex, what do you think the scoreline will be against Newcastle up at St James's Park?
That's a tough one. I don't really know how to feel about it because obviously last year we lost there. I'm gonna go with 2-1 City.
2-1.
Yeah.
Okay, Martin.
I'm struggling with this one. Because they're playing tomorrow night, whereas and then they're playing early Saturday as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they're not going to have. We're going to have a fresher team. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go for it. 4-1.
4-1.
It better be.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Like you said, Newcastle don't play till tomorrow. It's a long trip, but we know we're going to potentially be missing the likes of Sergio Aguero for certain. It looks like
I don't mind that at the minute.
Yeah, well, maybe not. He ain't looking as sharp as he normally does. But anyway, thank you. I just want to say a massive thank you to Martin one of our presenters on Man City Fan TV, and also Alex out in Serbia. And listen, mate, enjoy that Dinamo Zagreb game, and don't forget, we'll be in touch with you. And thank you so much for coming on.
It's nice to finally hear your voice, Alexander.
It is.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Well, listen, take care. You'll be able to find all of what you need below this video, this podcast tonight. And don't forget, if you're not a subscriber of Man City Fan TV, don't forget to subscribe. Click that bell icon and go over to SoundCloud, because this will be down. You can download it free of charge, listen to it free of charge on SoundCloud on the channel as well. And if you see the thumbnail, you will see all the details in there. But guys, I want to say a massive thank you for taking an hour of your time on a Sunday evening to chat about VAR, Shakhtar Donetsk, and giving me your scores for Newcastle. This is Andy from Man City Fan TV. We'll see you on the next podcast. Take care.